Donald Trump is shaking up trade again with new tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. For truckers, tradesmen, and blue-collar workers, this could change everything, from what you haul to how much you earn. But what if this move actually fixes some major issues for this country? In this video, we'll unpack what's happening, break down key insights from industry leaders, and explain how this could impact your job and your wallet. Let's get straight to the facts. President Trump is imposing a 25% tariff on imported goods from Canada and Mexico, and a 10% tariff on Canadian energy products. He's also increased tariffs on Chinese imports by 10%. What's the goal? To curb illegal immigration and stop the flow of fentanyl and other drugs across the border. But this decision doesn't just affect governments. For industries like trucking and manufacturing, where goods are constantly crossing borders, this could reshape how business gets done. And whether you see these changes as risk or opportunity, the one thing we do know is that it will directly impact workers like you. So here's what industry leaders are saying. Chris Spear, he's the president of the American Trucking Association. This is what he said. As the trucking industry recovers from years-long freight recession, we have concerns that tariffs could decrease freight volumes and increase costs for motor carriers at a time when the industry is just beginning to recover. Spear also pointed out that a 25% tariff could add up to $35,000 to the cost of a new truck. Imagine being a small carrier trying to compete while costs keep rising. For larger fleets, these extra expenses could total tens of millions of dollars a year. President of the Canadian Trucking Alliance, Stephen Laskowski, called the tariffs like taking a sledgehammer to crack a nut, arguing they're out of proportion for the problem. Laskowski is saying that the issues Trump is targeting, like drug trafficking, aren't fully tied to Canada. By lumping Canada into the same category as Mexico, the tariffs might do more harm than good for industries like trucking, which rely heavily on cross-border trade. So Canada exported $350 billion worth of goods in the US last year, with the vast majority moved by truck. These new tariffs could disrupt that flow, creating a ripple effect throughout the supply chain and increase costs for everyone involved. So why should these tariffs matter to you? Why does this matter to truckers, tradesmen, and other blue-collar workers? Because trucking moves about 85% of all goods across the southern border and 67% of goods from Canada. So when trade is disrupted, so is your paycheck. Here's some potential risks. Fewer cross-border loads. If tariffs slow down trade, there will be fewer goods to haul, meaning fewer loads for truckers and less work to go around. Higher equipment costs. The 25% tariff on imported steel and aluminum could make trucks, trailers, and parts way more expensive than they need to be. Smaller operators, or even big ones, might struggle to upgrade and repair their equipment. Rising material costs for tradesmen. If you're in construction, metalworking, or any trade that relies on imported materials, expect higher costs, higher prices on everything from tools to raw materials. I mean, these costs could eat in your profits. It's crazy. Just like how it happened for wood during COVID. However, there are potential rewards if it does work out. It'll boost domestic manufacturing. If tariffs encourage companies to source materials locally, industries like steel and aluminum production could see a big uptick in demand. This could mean more jobs and better pay for workers in those fields. Another potential reward, higher demand for U.S. truckers. If domestic manufacturing grows, trucking demand could increase with the U.S., leading to more loads and potentially higher freight rates for drivers. Third, improved border security. Okay. If tariffs lead to better cooperation on drug and human trafficking, the result could be safer conditions for truckers hauling cross-border loads and for the American public. 4, stronger trade deals. These tariffs might push Canada and Mexico to negotiate better trade agreements. which could stabilize supply chains and reduce cost in the long term. What's the long term? We'll see. So let's break down the bigger picture. There's no denying these tariffs create challenges for industries like trucking and trades, but what if they worked as intended? Let's look at both sides of the argument. The case for tariffs working. If trade shifts to American-made goods, it could revitalize struggling industries like steel and aluminum, bringing back jobs and reducing reliance on foreign imports. This is huge. This is what people voted for. So it just has to work out. Number 2, stronger trade partnerships could emerge. For example, the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, was one of Trump's big accomplishments during his first term. A similar deal could benefit workers across the board. 3, tackling the fentanyl crisis is huge. If tariffs push countries like Mexico to crack down on drug trafficking, it could make a real difference in the fight against opioid epidemic. Have you seen San Francisco? Okay. Now, what if it backfires? Here are the cases against tariffs. 1, supply chains are already stretched thin. Additional cost from tariffs could make it harder for businesses to stay competitive, leading to layoffs or closures. That's bad. Number 2, for truckers, fewer cross-border shipments mean fewer opportunities for work, especially for owner-operators who depend on consistent freight. And number 3, rising cost for goods and materials could hurt consumers and small businesses, potentially offsetting any gains in domestic production. Now let's look at the numbers. Let's put this into perspective with some quick stats. $350 billion of goods were exported from Canada to the US in 2024. Most of that was transported by truck. 85% of goods crossing the southern border are moved by trucks, supporting hundreds of thousands of US trucking jobs. A 25% tariff on trucks could add $35,000 to a new rig if you buy one. And that's a big deal because it's an expense that many new and smaller companies can't afford, even the big ones. So, the closing thoughts. What's next? As Chris Spear from the ATA pointed out, trucking plays a vital role in legit trade and border security. These tariffs might create short-term pain, but they could also lead to long-term benefits. But only if they address the root issues of unfair trade and security concerns. For truckers, tradesmen, and blue-collar workers, the key takeaway is this: stay informed and be ready to adapt. Whether it's fewer cross-border loads or new opportunity in domestic production, these changes will impact you directly. What do you think? What do you think? Are these tariffs a step in the right direction? Or are they too risky for industries like trucking and trades at this moment? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Lane Ape, that's me, for the latest news that keeps you ahead of the curve. Thanks for watching. See you next time. If you have any news, email me at laneapecollab@gmail.com. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo convinced Trump to delay the tariffs on Mexican goods by a month. The two countries are negotiating how to address drug smuggling and illegal immigration. Mexico is trying to avoid the tariffs by focusing on solutions that satisfy Mr. Trump.